Today we're going to work on section 1.3b, midpoints. And what you guys are going to do is you guys are going to be on Ed Puzzle. And we're going to pause the video at certain times, and you guys need to answer some questions. Okay, just so you can get some practice and you can work on understanding these problems. So here we go with midpoints. Okay. A midpoint of a segment is the point halfway between the endpoints of a segment. Okay, so if I draw a segment here, here's a line segment, and a line segment does not go on forever like a line. It's just has two endpoints. The midpoint is halfway through. So I'm going to estimate here. The midpoint's about right here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mark those 2 points. And that mark means it is congruent, which means the same. And this is the symbol for congruent. Okay, because you're going to see that a lot in midpoint. So the midpoint splits a segment up into 2 congruent segments. Okay, here is the formula. Here's what I want you to look at. I want you to look at this formula right here that I'm highlighting. Okay, so we have x1 plus x2. Those are just representing numbers divided by 2. In other words, it's very similar to taking the average of 2 numbers. So let's do a little work with the formula, and then you guys are going to try one on your own. Okay, we're just going to do this one together. I won't have you do this one on your own. Find the midpoint. So the formula is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. So those are my 2 numbers, 25 plus negative 8 divided by 2. I add those together. I get 17 divided by 2. Type it in your calculator, and you will get 8.5. 8.5, we could say degrees if we wanted to. That is the midpoint between the 2 temperatures. Okay, now the formula we're really going to use, we can just add another coordinate, is right here in red. Okay, so we're going to take x1 plus x2 divided by y1 plus y2. Please don't look at this graph right now. It's very confusing. All we need to know is the formula. We're going to take the average of the x points and the average of the y points and find the midpoint. Okay, so find the coordinates of the midpoint. So we're going to take 5 and negative 4 first. Okay, so what we're going to do is my first point is 5 plus negative 4 divided by 2. And my second point is 12 and 8. So now I take 12 plus 8 divided by 2. If I solve 5 plus negative 4, that's 1 over 2, 1/2. 12 plus 8 is 20 over 2. So just so you guys can see it here, that's 20 over 2. And when I divide that out, I get 10. So my midpoint is 1/2 comma 10. Okay, let's try another one. I have negative 8 and 5. I'm going to add those two together. Negative 8 plus 5 divided by 2. And let's actually solve that first. Negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3 over 2. Let's try a new color here. And now we're going to take negative 2 and 1 So negative 2 plus 1 over 2, and that is negative 1/2. So my answer would be negative 3/2, comma, negative 1/2. Okay? Let's take one more example here. I'm going to have you guys try this on your own. Okay, hopefully you guys found the answer. We're going to start with E, 8 plus negative 14, right? Because those are both my x points, divided by 2. And that's going to come out to negative 6 over 2, which equals negative 3. So that's my first point. My second point, I have negative 6 and 12. So negative 6 plus 12 divided by 2 is 6 over 2, which equals 3. So my final answer is negative 3, 3. So that's what you should have gotten. Okay, now we have a new type of problem, and I call it the missing endpoint problem. So there's a specific way to set up the endpoint, missing endpoint, and here's how we're going to do it. So in other words, I'm just going to draw a quick picture here. Here's my point, or here's my line. Here's my midpoint, here's my two congruent segments. In other words, I have E, I'm just making this up, E, P, G here. P is the midpoint. I have E, which is negative 8, 6. I have P, which is negative 5, 10, but I don't have G. So we already have the midpoint, what we solved in the previous problem. Now we have to find the endpoint. So here's how we're going to do that. And hopefully this will make sense to you guys. I'm going to stack my letters like so. E, P, and G. G is the midpoint. Okay? Then I'm going to fill in my numbers. Negative 8, 6. Negative 5, 10. I'm going to change my color here. And here's what we need to think about. How many numbers are between negative 8 and 5? In other words, how did I go from negative 8 to negative 5? I added 3. So because negative 5 is in the middle, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And so negative 3 plus 5 is going to be negative 2. How did I get from 6 to 10? I added 4. I add 4. 10 plus 4 is going to be 14. So my answer is G equals negative 2, comma 14. Okay? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep my EPG out here. If you're writing this down, you're just going to write EPG again. Now P, we're going to go the other way. Change it back to red here. P is negative 1, 3. G is 5, 6. So now I can go the other way. How did I go from 5 to negative 1? I went minus 6. Okay? So now I'm going to go negative 1 minus 6, and that's going to equal a negative 7. Draw a line there. How did I go from 6 to 3? I went minus 3. I went minus 3 again. 3 minus 3 is 0. So my answer here would be E equals negative 7, comma 0. Now, I want you guys to try the last one there. And the video will pause and you guys will figure out the last answer. Okay, hopefully you guys have an answer here. I'm going to show the work and show you what the correct answer was. So P is now -6, 4. G is now -5, -3. How did I get from -5 to -6? I went subtracted 1. I'm going to write -1 again. -6 minus 1 is -7. How did I get from -3 to 4? Okay, now I'm getting more positive. I add 7. -3 plus 7 is 4. I add 7 again. I get our favorite store, 7-Eleven, with a negative. So E equals -7, 11. Hopefully that's what you guys got. I know some of those can be challenging. All right, our last type of problem here you're going to see in the homework. We're going to be drawing out our segments again here. Okay, so find YZ if Y is the midpoint of XZ. So I'm going to draw XZ. Oh, I guess I got to draw my points at the end of that. So there are my points. Okay. XZ. Here is Y, and I need to mark them congruent. It'll help me out here. So XY is 2x minus 3. YZ is 27 minus 4x. What do I know about those two statements? I know that they are equal. Why? Because of the congruent mark. It's a midpoint. Those two are equal. So what I do is I do 2x minus 3 equals 27 minus 4x. Now I can do algebra. I'm going to add 3. That's what I'm going to start with. So I get 2x, because that cancels, equals 30 minus 4x. Now I have to get all the x's on the left. So I'm going to add 4x. Add 4x. I'm going to get 6x equals 30. Divide by 6, divide by 6, x equals 5. Does it say up here to find x? It says to find yz. So I take this x, I plug it in here. I'm going to change color. 27 minus 4 times 5 is the same thing as 27 minus 20, which equals 7. So my final answer would be 7. Okay, my next one I'm going to do is I need to find PR if Q is the midpoint of PR. So here's my line. Here's PR. Here's Q. I'm going to make them congruent. Okay, QR is, I'll change colors here so we can see it better. QR is 6 minus 3x. PR, now I got to do this. The whole thing is 14x plus 2. Well, what's this right here? What's PQ? Well, PQ and QR are the same thing. So I can write 6 minus 3x right there. And so now I have a little bit of an algebra problem. 6 minus 3x plus 6 minus 3x equals 14x plus 2. Combine like terms. 6 plus 6 is 12. Negative 3x minus 3x is minus 6x equals 14x plus 2. I'm going to run out of room. I'm going to add 6x. And so I get 12 equals 20x plus 2. Okay, I write really large, so I apologize. I'm going to carry this over here. Okay, I'm going to minus 2 from both sides. So that's going to be 10 equals 20x. Divide both sides by 20. X equals 1/2 or 0.5. Now, I need to find PR. So I'm going to take my X number and I'm going to plug it back into right here. So 14 times 1/2 plus 2. 14 times 1/2 is 7. 7 plus 2, my final answer would be 9. So we have to find X and plug it back in. Sorry that looks a little messy. Hopefully in class you guys will get to see it and we'll do it a little bit better. Alright, I'm going to erase this here so you can see it. Oops, I wasn't supposed to erase that. I'm going to get you started here and then you guys are going to solve. So, make sure we have the right picture. Okay. C should be the midpoint of AB. I'm sorry. C should be the midpoint of AB. So A, C, B, those are the same. Mark them the same. AC is 4x plus 5. AB, the entire thing, is 78. And now, it's kind of the same problem we did last time. So pause, go ahead right now and solve. So we have 4x plus 5 plus 4x plus 5 equals 78. Combine like terms. 8x plus 10. Remember, we don't subtract anything yet. Now we're going to subtract 10 from both sides. I shouldn't have drawn that line there. Let me erase that little line there. Okay, so we get 8x equals 68. Divide both sides by 8. And I think we're going to get a decimal here. Just dropped my calculator. 68 divided by 8. X equals 8.5. Because now this one just said find X. Okay. Great job today, guys. That